Today I find myself again in Tokyo Narita at Japan Airlines Sakura First Class Lounge. It's time for me to run though, because today I'm traveling to Singapore on Japan Airlines 787 business class. Hello YouTube travelers, and welcome to the Gentleman of Fortune channel. Join me on my travels around the world, and together we'll review the latest in flight and lounge offerings, find out how various airlines' first and business class products stack up, sample their catering, and indulge in their finest champagnes. Together, we'll experience the best of the best, and maybe some more obscure ones too. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss a thing. And now I invite you to sit back and relax as we get this next adventure underway. Boarding for Japan Airlines Flight 711 from Tokyo to Singapore began less than 20 minutes before departure time. The process was not rushed though, with only 6 total passengers on board the flight, 3 in the business class cabin including myself, and 3 in the main cabin. The boarding process was complete in record time. Here I am at my assigned seat 1K, which is both a bulkhead and a window seat. All of the Sky Suite 3 seats in this business class have direct aisle access. Waiting for me at my seat are pillows and blanket, slippers, and noise-canceling headphones. In this view from the seated position, you have a sense of the privacy afforded by the window seats. As this 7.5-hour flight straddles the cutoff between regional and intercontinental flights, Japan Airlines provides a pared-down version of an amenity kit featuring just the essentials. It includes only the dental kit, moisture mask, eye mask, and set of earplugs. And now for something truly shocking. Despite numerous flights on JAL, this is something I've never experienced before, but only ever seen on YouTube. Behold, the Japan Airlines cardigan. Sadly and strangely, I did not get to keep this, as it was collected at the end of the flight. Now let's take a look at the menu for this particular flight. These pages move quite quickly for the sake of brevity, but remember, you can pause the video at any point. Of note, these are the same champagnes offered on their intercontinental flights. I found it interesting that this month's Japanese meal on this super regional flight is the exact same one that I sampled last month on a Trans-Pacific flight. And so, with the quick boarding process complete and a review of the amenities, it's now time for a send-off from the ground crew. As we've taxied out past Terminal 1, we caught a fleeting view of ANA's 787 painted in the R2-D2 livery. As we are getting further into the year, the days are getting longer in Japan, and because of this I was fortunate to get a beautiful view of Mount Fuji, looking very serene, before the sun set behind the western horizon. As we continued climbing to altitude, the onboard service began. I was offered a drink, and a snack of some rice crackers. Next up is the hors d'oeuvre from the Western menu. I especially enjoyed the flavor of the potato dollop on the right-hand side of the plate, which featured mushrooms and goat cheese. The pond smelt beneath the basil sauce was less to my taste. For my main dish, I had the Wagyu sirloin, which when enjoyed with the truffle butter, was terrifically indulgent. The dessert was simple but delicious. I was offered some coffee or tea to accompany it, but considering that I was desperately in need of some sleep, I declined. About an hour before landing, I was awakened by the cabin attendant, who asked me if I would like something to eat. From the choice of ice cream or sushi, I selected the sushi, and this is what it looked like. We approached Singapore from the south just before midnight, and as always, there was a multitude of ships awaiting entry into the port. The food on this flight, and the flight overall, were very good, but there were a few things that stood out to me. At one point, the purser asked me if the cabin temperature was comfortable, which really impressed me, because that's never happened before, and oftentimes Japan Airlines keeps the cabin very warm. I was very excited when they presented me with the cardigan, but I must say I was taken aback when they decided to collect it at the end of the flight. This seemed especially odd considering that it was an article of clothing that I'd been wearing for the last 7 hours. And finally, the primary cabin crew member who attended to me was responsive and efficient, but I detected a subtle yet aggressive mannerism from her which surprised me, especially on Japan Airlines. I doubt it was animosity towards me as a gaijin, but possibly displeasure at having to work more when the cabin crew outnumbered the passengers, or possibly just someone having a bad day. At any rate, it didn't detract too much from the flight, and we soon arrived at Singapore's Changi airport, which judging from the window may be a bit humid. Until the next video, my friends, safe travels.